When I think about entrepreneurs, philanthropists, pioneering business people, I think of the late Earl G. Graves Sr. He was the founder of Black Enterprise magazine. And in a moment, I'll get into his story. Tyrone Bowman Live. Welcome to the Saturday night edition. Tonight, I'll be talking about one of the greatest businessmen that America really ever had, and especially for us in Black America. What's happening? All right, Earl G. Graves. Let's talk about him. Who exactly was he? Entrepreneur, publisher, businessman, philanthropist, and advocate of African American businesses. Graduate of Morgan State University, he was the founder of Black Enterprise magazine and chairman of the media company Earl G. Graves Ltd. He was the director for Aetna, an executive board member of the Boy Scouts of America. Let's get into his story tonight. For those of you who may be passing through, kindly, if you like the content and the things that I'm doing over here, kindly subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it very much. All right, Earl G. Graves. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, to Earl G. Graves, an immigrant from Barbados, and Winifred Cilly Graves, who was from Trinidad. Graves grew up in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of New York City, a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics in 1985 from Morgan State University. He was an ROTC graduate and attended Airborne and Ranger schools. It's always good to know about a person's beginnings before we get to their successes. Oftentimes, I think biographers are disingenuous when they write about people. They only want to talk about their successes and how they're championed as a great philanthropist, a great business person. But what happened in between? What about the times of lean days? What about the struggles, the setbacks, the disappointments? All this is important when we're talking about a person's achievements. Earl G. Graves is no longer with us here in the land of the living. Having written a letter to the Democratic National Committee, he became a volunteer for the 1964 presidential campaign of Lyndon B. Johnson. As you know, Johnson, he was the vice president for John F. Kennedy. He was sworn in on Air Force One the day that Kennedy was assassinated. Happy New Year's. Well, thank you. Happy New Year's to you too. Appreciate it. So Graves worked with the party. His work with the party gave Graves the opportunity to be administrative assistant to newly elected Senator Robert F. Kennedy Sr. in 1965. Following the assassination of the senator, Graves would land a seat on the advisory board of the Small Business Administration in 1968. Graves undertook his first job at the age of 7, selling boxed Christmas cards for his uncle. His territory was severely limited due to his father's rule that he could only sell to people living on their side of the block. While at Morgan State University, Graves made a name for himself as an entrepreneur, realizing that there was a big market for flowers during homecoming week. He went to 2 combining local florists and cut deals with both to sell flowers on campus. For a percentage of the profits, the florist provided the flowers while Graves covered the campus. His time on the SBA's advisory board and his direct work with the agency would lead Graves to his belief in the need for advanced businesses and economic development and urban affairs, which convinced him to create an annual newsletter that would chronicle issues relevant to Black business people and raise awareness of the importance of Black consumer power. At the suggestion of then SBA Director Howard J. Samuels, Graves would expand the concept of a newsletter into a full-fledged magazine. I used to, especially when I was attending the American Academy of Broadcasting, preparing for a career in radio, I always read Black Enterprise magazine. And if you all want to know, yes, I'm a real, genuine, authentic broadcaster and commentator. I attended a school called the American Academy of Broadcasting. It was for 2 years. It was there that I honed my skills as a broadcaster and learned the ins and outs of radio. Of course, now I'm here on YouTube as a commentator, a journalist, and soon to be attorney. Yes, I'm really a law student. I don't pretend to be one. I am one. So once I graduate, I'll post up my degrees on my channel, on my channels rather, and on all the other platforms that I have. Well, back to the late Earl G. Graves Sr. So Earl G. Graves started LTD, and under that holding company, he began the Earl G. Graves Associates Management Consulting Firm. Thank you. In August 1970, the first issue of Black Enterprise magazine hit newsstands. Earl G. Graves, Ltd., grew to include a number of divisions, including publishing, marketing, radio, television, and event coordinating arms. The firm is the co owner of the private equity fund Black Enterprise Greenwich Street Corporate Growth Fund, an equity partnership formed with Travelers Group Incorporated. The fund aims to invest and promote minority operated businesses. Now, if you are a Black owned business, you need to start reading Black Enterprise magazine. You'll find some of the most vital stuff that you need. Matter of fact, anybody can read it. One thing about me, I recommend things that hopefully people will use. Stuff that I know that will make a difference in people's lives. In 1990, Graves and Magic Johnson purchased the Pepsi-Cola bottling franchise in Washington, D.C., and Graves was CEO until 1998 when he sold his ownership to Pepsi. He held board and director memberships with a number of other corporations, including AMR Corporation, Dahmer AG, Federated Department Stores, and Rome and Haas, as well as being a board member of the American Museum of Natural History and Hayden Planetarium in New York City. He was also a member of the Board of Trustees of Howard University. The late Mr. Graves received the Silver Buffalo Award from the Boy Scouts of America in 1988 and was the National Commissioner from 1985 to 1994. He received the NAACP's Spargan Medal in 1999, Spin Guard Medal in 1999. In 2002, Graves was named as one of the most 50 powerful and influential African Americans in corporate America by Fortune magazine. I'm going to tell you something. It may be shocking, but it's going to be only on this channel that you can hear and receive positive information about business people as a whole. Because I do love to cover profiles of businessmen and women, as well as entertainers. Graves was appointed by the administration of George W. Bush to be on the Presidential Commission for the National Museum of African American History and Culture. On April 26, 2007, Earl G. Graves Sr. was inducted into the Junior Achievement U.S. Business Hall of Fame. In 2009, he became the recipient of the 2009 NCAA Silver Anniversary Award in honor. Morgan State University's Business School was named Earl G. Graves School of Business and Management, and it was opened in 2015. Sadly, Mr. Graves transitioned into eternity in White Plains, New York on April 6, 2020. He was 85 years old from complications of Alzheimer's disease, and may he continue to rest in peace. But I also found something else here from another source. Hopefully, they won't have a 1,001 commercials here. No, that one is too small. One more thing I'm going to say before I move on from here tonight. Let's see what Black Enterprise has to say. I'm pulling up my feed on here. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone Bowman Live. I'm talking about the founder of Black Enterprise magazine, the late Earl G. Graves Sr. Now, what I'm about to read right here, this is from blackenterprise.com. The headline reads, a visionary honoring business icon Earl G. Graves Sr., founder of Black Enterprise, on what would have been his 89th birthday. Black Enterprise's founder created an ecosystem of business empowerment and in the process made himself synonymous with the audacity of Black entrepreneurs. Publisher Earl G. Graves, Sr. was the quintessential entrepreneur who created a vehicle of information and advocacy that has inspired 4 generations of African Americans to build wealth through entrepreneurship, career advancement, and money management. And let me just stress that, especially to my dear brothers and sisters. We just can't have a job. We have to strive to build wealth. We must strive to leave a legacy of prosperity behind. Not poverty, but a legacy of prosperity. We just can't think about ourselves and forget about our family. So wealth, entrepreneurship, career advancement, and money management. Do you know many of you all have some awesome skills? I know it. I said, many of you all, you have awesome skills. You just need someone to motivate you and to inspire you and to let you know what you can, quote, be, do, and have, end quote, the words of the late Reverend Knight. Don't be afraid to pursue your vision. Don't be afraid to pursue your dreams. Well, Tyrone, what about if I fail? Do you know how many times I have failed? How many times I've been fired from jobs? I'll give you an example. I before I got into radio, I thought I wanted to be a carpenter. So I started an apprenticeship working for a contractor, a very successful contractor. I got fired. You know why? Because it wasn't my calling. My boss called me in the office. He said, I'm going to do one of the best things for you, and you'll thank me later. I have to fire you because this is not your calling. I used to work for Church's Fried Chicken. That didn't work out. I worked for Kentucky Fried Chicken, Geno's, etc. Though that's not who I was supposed to be. I was a non-teaching assistant known as an NTA, patrolling the hallways in schools. That was not my calling. We have to know what we're put on this earth to do, and don't be afraid to pursue it. Now, getting back to what I was saying, many of you who come on my channel, you have great talents, great abilities. You're smart, you're intelligent. I know you are because I read the comments in the comment section. Many of you are educated, but you are afraid to pursue your dreams. You're afraid to fulfill them. You better cast all caution to the wind. I am so focused on becoming a lawyer, I don't let anything, anyone, or anybody deter me from what I'm doing. And I want to inspire you, yes, you, to motivate you. Believe in the Almighty. Believe in yourself. Believe in the possibility of now. Because youth will not always be on your side. And let me tell you something. You can do this. We have to get our mind off of what's going on in the world of politics. We have to get our mind off of what they say, what we can do and what we can't do. I'm telling you, you can do it. But you're going to have to make up in your mind to achieve it. And if you do, you will succeed. All right. That's just a little inspirational talk to you. Let's move on. All right. Let me give you a brief overview of Mr. Graves from this perspective of blackenterprise.com. Born on January 9, 1935, Mr. Graves passed away quietly at 9:22 p.m. on April 6, 2020. After a long battle with Alzheimer's, Mr. Graves was 85 years old. Graves is widely considered to be the ultimate champion of black businesses, launching BE or Black Enterprise in 1970 to not only chronicle the rise of African American entrepreneurs, but also provide the tools for African Americans to succeed in the business mainstream and, quote, achieve their measure of the American dream, end quote. In his award-winning now classic business bestseller, How to Succeed in Business Without Being White, I read that book. That is a must read. If you want a book to read, get it. How to Succeed in Business Without Being White. Don't you fall into that idiom of telling you that because you're black, you can't think, because you're black, you can't achieve, because you're black, you can't excel. Forget about all that MAGA BS. They're just a bunch of racists and bigots and Nazis who gather together to espouse white nationalism. And they know darn well that they're talking trash and talking garbage, but they want to get money into their coffers, so they align themselves with all the bigots and all the racists and people of that nature. You know, like I know, the most powerful minds on the planet are those who dream how to succeed in business without being white. Get the book, read it, and glean from it. Learn from it. You'll be glad that you did. Now, continuing here. Graves stated his life-defining purpose for founding BE in simple, direct terms. Quote, the time was ripe for a magazine devoted to economic development in the African American community. The publication was committed to the task of educating, inspiring, and uplifting its readers. My goal was to show them how to thrive professionally, economically, and as proactive, empowered citizens, end quote. Driven by that mission, Graves became a trailblazing entrepreneur in his own right, building BE from a single magazine publishing company 50 years ago to a diversified multimedia business spreading the message of financial empowerment to more than 6 million African Americans through print, digital, broadcast, and live event platforms. As such, BE was one of two companies that would appear on the BE's 100s, the publication's annual rankings of the nation's largest black-owned businesses. Each of his 47 years, at one point, Graves would operate two companies on the list, including Pepsi-Cola of Washington, D.C., one of the nation's largest soft drink distributors owned by African Americans. Graves' influence reached also extended into the mainstream of corporate America. One of the few African Americans to serve on the boards of major corporations such as American Airlines, Daimler Chrysler, Roman Haas, and Federated Department Stores, now today known as Macy's. He was a staunch advocate for African American inclusion in the C-suite and corporate governance. Graves was also a tireless champion of major corporations doing business with black-owned companies. Beyond business, Graves was a force in politics, civil rights, and philanthropy. In fact, he played a pivotal role in galvanizing support for the election of the first black American president of the United States, Barack H. Obama. Through his endorsement in BE and service as a surrogate campaigning on his behalf, before that, Graves also championed the historic presidential bids of Reverend Jesse Jackson. You know, Reverend Jesse Jackson, God bless him, who's almost 90 years old. He was the forerunner or the John the Baptist in the political wilderness before Barack Obama came on the scene. See, my feed keeps trying to close, but I'm not going to allow it to close. All right, let me close this out by saying this here. Because these people always trying to get you to subscribe to something or buy something. They think they're slick. They got 1,001 ads here, but I don't care about the ads because I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about anyway. So he was a force in politics. He helped Reverend Jesse Jackson. Moreover, his fight for racial justice and economic parity earned him the NAACP Spin Guard Medal, the organization's highest honor in 1999. Graves was also known for his dedication to family and especially to his wife, Barbara Kidd Graves, who passed away in 2012. Together, they raised three sons, Earl Jr., Johnny, and Michael, and were blessed with 8 grandchildren. B.E.'s legacy lives on now through his son, Black Enterprise CEO Earl Butch Graves Jr. That's right, he brought them into the family business and taught them about it. And today, Black Enterprise Magazine is thriving because of it. What is your legacy going to be? What are you going to strive to do? That's my question to you as I close. What's going to be your legacy? What are you going to strive? This channel right here is FUBU, for us, by us. Even though I may have a diverse audience in America and around the world, I'm sincerely working hard to reach my people, to inspire you, to motivate you, to get your mind cultivated with success ideas, letting you know that in your time and in your generation, you can succeed. Never surrender, never quit.